who made it to the workshop today. What's up, y'all? Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the AW, your forever safe space to chill, feel, and heal. If you're new here, the AW stands for Eretic's Workshop. I'm Eretic, and the workshop is a space for you to sit in your shadows, reflect on your thoughts, and come out on top. What's up, you guys? We are back in this thing once again for episode 8. I'm so excited. So excited. Per usual, if you listen to my episodes, I'm always excited to be here because it's just fun. It's so much fun. So, of course, before this episode drops, episode 7 has dropped, and I did not put a disclaimer on that one about me missing a week. But if you follow my IG and my Facebook, you would know that I skipped that week of 4th of July weekend and everything like that because I just needed a break, y'all. I needed a break. I had time off of work, so I was like, look, I'm going to celebrate myself and I'm going to relax and take off everything because that's very rare of me to do. I'm a workaholic. I work a lot, and I was like, I just deserve a break. So I took me a little break, and it was amazing. It was so amazing. I took me a few naps. It was great, but we'll get into that later. I just wanted to let that spill be out that yes, I did skip a week if you solely listen to the podcast and you don't follow me on the social medias. But if you don't follow me, perfect shameless plug right here. Follow me on IG and TikTok at theaw.podcast and on Facebook now. We are officially on Facebook. So I made a Facebook page finally, and it is called the A.W.podcast. And the handle on that, which we don't really use handles on Facebook, but they gave an option to put a handle. So it's at the A.W.pod, not podcast like the rest of the handles, because someone took that already. Haters. So just wanted to plug that real quick. And if you need any other updates, future updates, they will always be on the social media if I don't drop like a little snippet saying, hey, this week I don't have an episode, blase, blase. So, all right, you guys, got that out the way. And now we're going to go ahead and get straight into Spin the Block. Let's go. So last week I told you guys that, well, first off, I forgot to say that the episode that I dropped, episode 7, that was actually recorded before the 4th of July weekend. I just didn't have the bandwidth to edit it at all. And so that's why I took time off. I was like, I don't have time. Like I said, I'm a one-man show over here. Record, setup, production, editing. I guess production and recording are the same thing, but editing, marketing, all of that, it's all me. So sometimes I'll be tired, okay? And hopefully I can outsource eventually so that I can get some time back and focus on my other projects that I want to do and businesses that I want to run. So it's all an investment. You just have to invest in the things that you want to do so that you can really buy back your time. That's really what we're doing out here, which is crazy because time is free. So why we got to buy it? It's crazy. But in last week's episode, I did let you guys know that I had decided to go with the new opportunity. I'm still in the process of leaving my current job, and actually tomorrow is my last day. So it's been kind of sad saying goodbye to everyone. And this is like my first corporate job that I actually enjoyed. It's like I didn't enjoy it that much because we already know I don't like corporate, but this is the first one that I actually started to build relationships with, because when I worked for the state, when I was in Tennessee, I didn't like it at all. And I don't want to say I didn't like my coworkers, but it was just very catty, and my life was all over the place. My personal life was all over the place. So it was very hard for me to even remotely want to enjoy what was going on there. So there was a lot of things, a lot of negatives and positives that happened at the state, but I just never felt the unity and bond that I felt with the people that I work with now. So it's been pretty sad saying my goodbyes, cleaning out my desk. And this is the first time I had to clean out my desk and walk out with a box, y'all. So, milestones, all milestones. Because when I worked at the state, it was mainly remote, and I left before we had to go back into office. So yeah, it's been a lot. And I was just like, man, this is so freaking sad. Like, good grief, but I'm not staying. I refuse to stay just because it's sad. Like, oh no. But overall, it's been cool. I'm very excited for my new chapter and my new journey. So I can't say I'm sad enough to stay. But I am grateful for, everything that I went through, the things that I learned, and I've learned a lot of valuable things at this job. Even though it felt torturous because I didn't necessarily want to do it. I learned a lot of things that I'm going to be able to take and build my own business with and incorporate into other positions that I work in, and like I said, the businesses I want to run. So it's been great. This is just a small ode to my old workplace. And yes, I'm excited for the new journeys that are coming and can't wait to see where it takes me because it's a whole new level. Where I'm going is just like a level I've never been at before and with a clientele I've never worked with before. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm also excited because, I'm just ready to try new things. So, anywho, enough about that. Other than that, I really have been relaxing, y'all. I really have. Married at First Sight is finally back, San Diego. So be prepared for some updates on that on Spin the Block because I'm about to be all up in it. And y'all gotta let me know if you're into it because I will get into it, but I'm not gonna take all this time because that's not what we're here for. We're not a reviewing recap podcast. So but I just get so into it. Y'all know. So yeah, I've just been trying to take a break, just trying to feel myself again, because I've just gotten into a schedule and it's always like that. I get into a routine and a schedule, how life works for me, and then I change something. And it's just like, great, now I have to find another schedule and routine and figure out how I'm going to make work and life be balanced. So that'll be interesting, kind of annoying, but I like change, right? So it'll be cool. But aside from that, I've kind of been like on the dating apps, and Lord, y'all, the ghetto. The ghetto. It's just like, this is why people don't like to date because the dating apps are just not giving what they need to give. And I'm just gonna have to be real old fashioned with it and go to some classes or just go out and about on the town and find me some people because the dating apps are just not it. But I can't lie, like I've met some really cool people on there and some people that, we have some good conversations. So you never know where it could go. You never know. But I can't lie. I do have like my eye on someone that I actually know. So a little tea on my life. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If it goes anywhere. And yeah, but I'm still single as ever out here, just living my life, waiting to be scooped and swept off my feet like the rest of us who aren't in a relationship. If you desire that, because not everybody wants to be in a relationship, but a lot of us do. So I just feel like I've healed a lot and I've loved on myself a lot. So I'm just like ready to like spread my love. I'm so ready to just share my love with someone who deserves it and can give me the same back. That's really what it is. Because I'm not going to settle for anything. Been there, done that. Not doing it again. And I'm just ready. I have a lot to give. So I'm a giver naturally. So my boo's going to be happy whenever I get one. But aside from that, y'all, all up in my business, that's about it. That's all that's been going on. Much needed rest, much needed healing, much needed relaxation, and much needed back to work and productivity because we back at it like I never left, okay? We're going to go ahead and get into word from the fam. So let's go ahead and head over there. So today's word from the fam comes from somebody that I've been watching for years. I mean, since I was like, I don't know how old I was. Let's just say 2012, 2013. I've been watching this person on YouTube. And her name is I Am Jade Fox. She used to go by Foxy Hot Mess, but love her down. I don't really watch her YouTube videos anymore. I just kind of follow her on IG because she kind of switched up what she does now. So, different crowd, different things or whatever. But her quote is, if it's on the back burner, it's burnt. And that is so true. If anything that you want to do, any idea, any business, any conversation, anything that you put on the back burner and save for later is burnt. Okay, it's burnt. If it's on the back burner, it's burnt. You have forgotten about it. You have stuck it back there until you feel like you can get to it. Put it to the forefront, get it cooking in the oven, and pull it out before it gets really burnt. You know what I'm saying? So I love that quote. It's just like, stop putting things on the back burner, get to it, start doing it, run a business if you want to, do that project that you want to do, take that class that you want to do, leave that job. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you want to do so that you can continue to progress in life. Don't leave things on the back burner for them to just be burnt and crusty. We don't need that, okay? So take a note from I Am Jade Fox and start working towards your goals. Be productive and be consistent with it, okay? That is it from A Word from the Fam. So we're going to go ahead and head over to the fellowship hall, y'all, and start fellowship hour. Let's go. So, in today's topic of the day, the fellowship hour, we are talking about harmony, the harmony of life, the art of harmony, harmony and balance, however you want to view it. That's what we're talking about today. A lot of us do not realize how harmonious our life is and how marrying the good and the bad makes for a quality life. We already know, I've talked about it many times. If you have too many positives or if you have too many negatives, you're out of balance. You know, if you have too many goods, too many bads, too many highs, too many lows, whatever, you're out of balance. You're not being harmonious with your life. And you're not able to take the good or take the bad and marry it together to have a harmonious state or have a harmonious, balanced life. So one way that I like to kind of break this down is by looking at the old world versus the new world. And I'm not going to go like all the way back into like the olden days because, you know, that takes some research and I'm just not a history girl. So I need to start getting into it because, you know, I talk about business all the time. And if you really want to be a good business owner, you got to know what happened in the past so that you can, you know, learn the trends, all this good stuff. But I'm just going to go back to 2019 because that's something that's still kind of fresh in our mind. I'm convinced that we're stuck in 2019 because, you know, the world just shut down in 2020 and then we got back up like nothing happened. So, you know, we're still like trying to catch up, trying to figure out what's going on. But I'm going to go back to 2019. And so viewing 2019, if you can remember where you were at, what you were doing, all the things that were occurring in your life in 2019 before the pandemic hit, then you know your life looked totally different. You know, it was more hustle and bustle. It was more just a lot of things to do, a lot of errands to run, a lot of things to accomplish. It was just a lot going on. You might have been sad, you might have been happy, you might have been lazy, you know what I'm saying? It could be anything that was happening to you during those times. Now, when 2020 came, it made all of us experience a shakeup of the old world and the old world, which was in 2019 and before. So it made us really experience this shakeup where we just didn't know what to do, you know, and a lot of people panicked. A lot of people found it as an opportunity to strengthen themselves. It gave them more time at home with family. It gave time to evaluate relationships, either to cut it or to grow stronger. It gave time to do a lot of different things. Some people use that time to invest. Some people use that extra money to invest. Some people use that extra money just to go on a trip just because they never been on a trip before. They've never had that kind of money. Some people use that money just to go retail therapy shopping and, you know, to each his own, but not really the smartest move. But, you know, we were dealing with whatever we could deal with in those times. You know what I'm saying? It's like you cannot fault people for how they dealt with whatever was going on at that time, because that's, you know, we ain't ever been through anything like that. So it was just a time for people to just explore who they were and to really recognize their habits. But, you know, some people did not take advantage of those things. They kind of just brushed it off and just wanted to mask the pain with something else, or they took the time to work on themselves. Either or. Everybody came out different out of 2020. So 2021 came and things were looking a little bit more up, you know. people either were feeling guilty about what they didn't do in 2020, or they were feeling on top because they had made like their life and their dreams come true by leaving a 9 to 5, or by creating their own business, or by losing weight. Like, people did a lot of different things, or people took 2021 to figure that out as well, because 2020 they just were going through a depression, or just going through times where they just needed to feel themselves or just relax, because we had been on the hamster wheel for eons, okay? Many eons, and 2020 came and it gave us a chance to just relook at some things. So 2021 came, like I said, it was the shuffle and the shift. It was like, okay, let me move this piece here. I see what I can do here. I've been exposed to this information here. Let me see how I can shift and shuffle and take this and take that and explore more about this and delete this. And, let me play around. Let me brainstorm. Let me get into the playroom and figure out what I need to do. Let's work on this. Let's figure it out. And then now we're here in 2022. Okay. And to me, 2022 is really showing up and proving that it's the time to apply. It's the time to take all of that shuffling and shifting and do it. It's the time of action. It's the time of marrying it's the ceremony of the 2019, the 2020, and the 2021. It's time to go ahead and get married, get committed, and all that stuff that you learned and you went through, all the ups and the downs and the new self-discoveries and the new businesses you started and that job you left, whatever, your new relationships with your families and things like that. It's time to take all of that and pull it into your new life in 2022. How does that look for you? What changed for you? What do you do differently now? What have you expanded in? What are you trying to plant a new seed in to bring into fruition? How can you use those principles that you learned throughout 2020 and 2021? How can you take all that along with the things that you are already doing in 2019? You know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff isn't just supposed to be thrown out the window. It's a part of your wisdom suitcase, like I always say. So how can you take all of that, apply it to this year, and become more harmonious and balanced in your life by learning from the ups and the downs and implementing the ups and the downs in your life? How can you do it? That's a good question to really start off this whole topic. So we're going to take a little moment to get into my little spiritual bag, right? Because I'm into numerology and I want you guys to understand how this all plays together. So 2022, if you are into numerology, you know that when we do numbers, we add the numbers together to get the final base number. So what I mean by that is, like, I'm going to use 2022 as an example. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 0. Make sure I said that right. Equals 6. Okay, so you add your 2, you add your 0, you add your 2, you add your 2, you get 6. And so that is what that number breaks down to. Now, the number 6 represents a lot of different things, but the main ones that I have come to figure out that number 6 represents is, of course, number 1 is harmony. Okay, it's a balanced number. And if you ever had a tarot reading or anything like that, your tarot reader might have told you that. But if not, this is just news for everyone listening, okay? The number 6 is a very balanced number. It's harmonious. And when I think of balance, I think of how you can split it up. You got your 3, you got your 2, 2, 2. Balanced, right? It's also the number of improvement, stability, nurturing, and caring, okay? So if you think back to 2019, 2020, 2021, and you come back to now, you will realize that no matter what you've been through, your life feels a little bit more balanced now. You're not going to let that job stress you out because you know your worth, right? You're not going to let people stress you out because you know that at the drop of the dime, you could be gone tomorrow, they could be gone tomorrow. Either way, you need to make sure you're solid in yourself. But you also realize that your relationships are important, because we lost a lot of people in 2020 and 2021, and we continue to lose people. But it really gave you a moment to sit down and be like, okay, let me nurture these relationships. Let me pour into these relationships while I'm pouring into myself as well, so that I can make sure I have stable relationships, I improve in my relationships, and that my relationships feel harmonious. They feel good to me. They have their times where they're a little low, but I can talk through those and I can work through those. And they have their times where they're really high and we make great memories and everything like that. Either way, we're all growing and evolving, and we're learning how to work together, co-create with one another. So to me, this year right now is all about duality, embracing everything that has happened to you, that you are made of, that surrounds you. How can it work for you? How can you make your life be more go with the flow and love the process of trying to figure out what stays and what goes and what works well together? In order to live a great life, harmony is required. It is required, okay? Or else you'll always be in this false perception of always being positive, which is like toxic positivity, or you'll always be down, depressed, and in your feelings because you can't focus on what else good is happening in your life. So, marrying the two, you already know I talk about this all the time. The hints of this podcast, your light and dark aspects are a part of you. Without dark, there is no light. Without light, there is no dark. So being harmonious and bringing in these different things are definitely going to make you well-rounded. It's going to make you appreciate life more. It's going to make you more grateful for what's going on and all the lessons that come your way, because you're just going to know, like, this is for the good of me. Nothing is happening to me, is happening for me. So therefore, I welcome in these experiences and these lessons and these things that are happening to me and happening for me, because nothing's happening to you, like I just said. I'm going to give you some real life examples to help you understand and really bring it into your mind and into your space for you to grasp a little bit more. I'm going to start off with an example I use all the time. That's me moving into my first apartments. Okay. The bad part about that was that I went through a breakup. I was very sad, very upset about it. Did not want it to happen. Wanted to hold on for as long as I could. But the good part about that is that I found myself in the process. I was able to reevaluate what went wrong in that relationship on my end and on the person's end. And I was able to create my space. I was able to create a safe space for myself and be very creative and unleash and unlock all of these different talents that I didn't know I necessarily had, because I was just always so focused about a relationship. So being able to move into my own space and explore myself changed my life. And without using the motivation and hurt from the breakup in balance and in harmony with my desire to be better and my motivation to get out of the funk and to learn who I truly was as a person, I would have been stuck on one side of the spectrum in some type of delusion, like super, super upset, not wanting to get up and do anything, just sulking in that misery and probably trying to continue to go back and back to that relationship. Or I would have just been masking the pain, putting a Band-Aid over it and be like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, just staying busy, ignoring the pain, and not really working through my emotions. So I give myself a round of applause, okay? Because I really took that situation and I took any part of that, bad, good, mediocre, neutral, no feelings, whatever, took all of that and made something out of it. Just like I said in the last episode, the art of shapeshifting, I transmuted that energy into something better. But without harmony, I wouldn't have been able to transmute that. Without seeing that this bad is going to help this good and this good is going to help this bad, I wouldn't have been able to progress in the way that I did. So in turn, because I got out of that relationship, and even if you're leaving a relationship, whatever the case is, you will find, the things that were wrong in that relationship, the things that needed to be fixed in that relationship. But not only will you find that, you will also find out how to love again, whether it's loving yourself or loving somebody correctly in the way that they need to be loved. You will be able to get so many lessons out of the different experiences you go through and be able to bring harmony and balance into your life in that way. So that when you're in a relationship, you see, okay, this thing happened in my last relationship and now I have this perspective about it. Let me talk to them and see how they feel about it so I can get a new perspective. And then I can marry both these things and come up with a healthy result that's going to benefit the both of us. And that's how harmony works. Marrying the old with the new and figuring out a brand new solution that works for everyone involved, every situation that's affected, and every circumstance that might come into play. Another great example I have is going to school. Okay. We learn a very specific way when we're in grade school. When you're in elementary and middle school, it's kind of the same. You go up in levels and things change. When you get to high school, it's a different ball game depending on what type of high school you go to. Because some high schools are more college focused and some high schools are just regular high schools. But I think nowadays most high schools are trying to gear towards that, like preparatory classes and getting you college credits before you graduate. So that's a good thing. But learning styles have to change, okay? I really experienced that when I went back to school after going into the workforce, because I went back to school, I think, I said this before, but I just can never remember, y'all. I think I was like 26 or something, and I went back to school. And during that, I really had to evaluate, okay, what did I used to do back in high school that helped me to succeed and get good grades? What did I used to do during this era of my life? And what is required of me in this current era of my life? Like, what do I need to accomplish? How much time does it take? What skills can I take from the past to apply to now? And what do I need to educate myself on more in order to be better at my tests, at the knowledge, retaining the knowledge, and to perform well on these projects, right? I found myself struggling a lot because I had never taken college seriously like that. But when I got in there, I was like, this is different. This is really different. And so realizing how different it was, I was just like, I got to do something different. Like, this is something I haven't experienced before, and it's requiring a lot of my time. This stuff takes time. It takes a lot of detail. So what do I need to do in order to retain this information? So I definitely had to go on YouTube and be like, how do I study? Because in high school, I didn't really have to study. High school wasn't a challenge for me, really. It was just kind of like, okay, I got good grades. Cool. Good, I'm good. But when I went to college, it was different. You really had to apply yourself. You really had to figure out what works for you. What is your learning style? What does your environment need to be like when you're studying? What does your environment need to be like when you are working on a project? Can you listen to music? Can you not? Can you study in a study group? Can you not? Like, what's efficient for you? And I remember talking to a professor one time because I was in astronomy. I think I had like a C in the class, right? And I was just like, if I fail anything, like I might get a D and then I might fail the whole class. Like, that's not good. I went to his office hours and I was like, or I don't know if he called me to the office hours or like he scheduled a meeting with me, or if I was just so concerned about my grade. I was just like, I need to talk to the professor. Like, what can I do differently? Because I truly didn't know. Like, I don't come from anyone who went to college, so I didn't have anyone in my family to be like, you need to do this and do that in order to get good grades. I didn't really have friends that really took college seriously. Like, they passed and they got degrees and stuff, but they were definitely the ones who like would party, and then 11:30 they're trying to turn in a paper by 11:59. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really have like that example of people that I could like lean on to like see how I could get A's and B's in college. B's and C's in college are A's and B's in high school. Okay, so to get an A in college is something. And you've really been working it, depending on the class, because some classes don't be doing much. But there are a lot of challenging classes where you had to really apply yourself and really study. So I went to talk to my astronomy professor and I was like, I'm really interested in the class and I really love the things you teach, but I just keep getting like all these C's and stuff. Homework is good, but when it comes to tests, I just keep getting low grades. So he just flat out just looked at me, and I mean, he was really nice about it, and he was just like, I mean, it just looks like you just need to study more. And I was like, such a simple answer that I did not have. I didn't have that answer. I didn't know. I just didn't know. Like, of course, it's like common sense to study, but I didn't do that in high school. So it wasn't an innate behavior for me to do. And so when he told me that, I was like, that makes sense. Like, of course, if you study more, you will probably ace the tests and the quizzes and the homework even more. You know what I'm saying? So he truly changed my whole perspective about college after that. And I was a sophomore then. And was I? No, I was a freshman, about to be a sophomore. And that was before I got into my interior design program, because we had a whole program that was like laid out and everything like that. Learning that before getting into the program was probably one of the best things that happened to me, because once I got in the program, great grades, making sure that I was studying all the time, acing my projects, doing good teamwork, really gathering the information, getting a good internship, all this stuff off of that one piece of information. And so I was able to take that, look at the past about what worked for me and what didn't work for me, put those two things together, however many things, multiple things together, and then come out with a new solution that led me to where I'm at today. And so I want you guys to really evaluate that. Like, look and see what was that piece of information that was the shift for you. Just like I said earlier, 2021 was the shuffle and shift. You had new information, you had new ideas, you had past evaluations. You took that and you married it to be where you're at right now. At least I hope so. Because some people could be in the same spot they were in 2019, 2020. And if that is you, try to look and see where you can make these improvements, what you can do differently, and bring in the stuff that you're currently still doing, along with some new things, with some new information. All it takes is a little bit of education, a little bit of exploring and research, and you'll be so surprised about how you change your life just off of one piece of knowledge. Being serious about school and learning what works for me and what doesn't work for me led me to putting all of that stuff into working. Okay, which is the point. You go to school so that you can land a career and apply all that knowledge and hustle into your work life. So when I first started working, which was in high school around the age of 16, your girl did not want to work. Did not want to work. I hated it. And I was also a spoiled brat. Like, I didn't really have to do much to get money. And so when I actually went to get a job, I got a job because I just wanted it, because all my friends had a job. And I was like, I want to get a job. And so I got a job, and, my mom was happy about it, because she's like, oh, great. I don't have to, keep giving her all this money. She can just go work. It was terrible, y'all. My first job was Captain D's, right? It was cool. It was all right until they told me that I had to clean the bathroom. And I was like, the bathroom? Oh my God, like the toilets and stuff? Like, oh, So I was real bougie, y'all. I'm still bougie, but I did it. I still did it, you know what I'm saying? Even though I didn't want to do it, it was my job. And I've met a lot of cool people there that I'm actually like still cool with one of them from my job when I was 16. Like, so I learned the value of like meeting people through jobs and stuff like that. But I still didn't want to work. So after that, I went to work at Taco Bell, and that job was okay. Everyone was really cool. They were a little wild in there. Like, they would, when they closed the dining room down and then the drive-thru's the only thing open, they would just be blowing it up in there, y'all. I mean, puffing it down. But I was like 17, 18, and I didn't even know what a weed was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was one of those kids who was a little sheltered. So I didn't do any of that stuff. That job was cool. I still didn't want to work. And the way that I approached leaving those jobs was just not a good way. Like, didn't know what a 2 weeks notice was. I would just simply quit and not come back. I just wouldn't do it. I mean, but those jobs, people do that all the time. But in my life now, I would never do that. Ever in my life do that. But I also feel like there's a different standard for corporate jobs. You don't just leave. You kind of got to do it the right way. Especially if you want the possibility of having the job back, which I can say I don't care about most jobs having it back, except for the one that I'm currently leaving. But I still wanted to do it the right way. I didn't want to work at first. I hated working. And then I became a workaholic. I became a workaholic while I was in school, like leading up to school. That's what really got me into school, because I was working and working and working and doing all this stuff. I was a manager at that warehouse I was telling you guys about for like 4 years. And I was putting in so much work there. And I was just like, this just feels like I'm doing all this for nothing. Like, I could be putting this energy into a career for me. I can go to school and put the same energy into, my new career. So while I was working as a manager at this warehouse, I took those skills from working at Captain D's and Taco Bell and wherever else I worked at, because, I bounced around a lot, as teenagers do. We do this all the time. I took that energy and I realized that, okay, you might need to stay here a little longer than a couple months. You might need to learn how to build longevity with a job in a workplace. You might need to learn not how to be so flighty. So I remember the first time I really discovered, like, this is what you do. You have to work every day except for the times that you're off. Like, this is what it looks like to work. I remember that. And I was not a manager yet. I was still working at that same warehouse. And I was sitting there doing whatever my job was, and it just came over me. It's just like, this is what it is. You can do it. You can go to work every day. Like, y'all, I really didn't like to work. I mean, a lot of us don't, but a lot of us don't have the option to not work. So a lot of us don't get to experience what it feels like to not work. And as a kid growing up, I had the privilege to not work if I didn't want to, until of course I got to like my 20s and stuff. Having that epiphany with myself was like, okay, let's take what we did in the past and let's apply it to this current situation right now. When I was working at the warehouse, and it's like, you didn't like it because you felt like you didn't have to do it, or you felt like it was just, why did you have to do it, basically? Like, why? I've always been the person just like, why am I here? Why? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? Why? Let me know why. And so I questioned that with my life as well. And I was just very flighty, just doing whatever I wanted to do. So this job that I had that really built me up to be a workaholic really showed me that it's not as bad as you feel like it is. It's not that bad. It's something that you need to get used to, because if you want to be a boss one day, if you want to have a business, you're going to be working 10 times harder than this. Okay. If you ever even want to think about touching $1 million, you're going to have to work harder than this. Okay. And it's not that you're going to have to do more physical labor or anything like that. You're just going to have to have the bandwidth and capacity to manage different things and different streams of income and different tasks and responsibilities that fall on you as a person who's a business person. Of course, back then I wasn't thinking of like being a business person. I was just thinking about how I was going to keep a job because I had it to work. And I actually remember the job before that was another warehouse job where I was working with all of my friends, and we worked 4 days a week, 4 10s, of course. I hated going to that job because it was just so long, but it helped me get into the flow, especially seeing my friends work. And all my friends had worked since they were like 15, 16. I was the oddball out that was just kind of like out here wilding. But I also was the one who had extracurricular activities. Like, I was always doing something after school. So it's not like I wasn't working. I just wasn't working for money. So I always was busy. But that warehouse job that I started with, I still wasn't in the mindset that I got in once I got to the other warehouse job that I became a manager at. That job alone taught me so much about myself, how I communicate with people, how I interact with people, how much drive I have, how smart I am, how I can really make anything work for me. So, like I said, while I was there, I was working so hard, being a workaholic there all the time, even overtime sometimes, just always there, that I felt like my time was being wasted because I knew this wasn't going to go anywhere. I knew I didn't want to end my life in this warehouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that I didn't even want to end my life in their corporate. I knew I wanted to do something different, but at the time I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And so that's when, my friends started talking about designing and stuff, and people were like, you should do interior design, da, 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 da. And I had been looking into it for a while. So I finally made my decision on that. And while I was there at this job, y'all, I'm trying to tell y'all, if anyone can tell you who saw me in that realm of transition, I'm going to always work on my side business at the workplace. Like, y'all going to pay me to build my business. Like, that's just what it is. Like, I'm going to use this money to invest in my business, but I'm also going to use y'all's time to work on my business. Like, I'm gonna always find a loophole. So while I'm managing people, I would be at my desk with my books, reading and studying and writing notes and getting ready for my test the next day or the next 2 days or whatever, because I worked so much. And as a manager, you got to clock in more hours than anybody else. So I was like, if I'm going to be here this long, I'm going to pull out this book. Okay. And I'm going to, even on my lunch break, I'm going to sit here and study and read the chapters that I need to read for this week, because I got to get to it. And so I was able to take those skills from school, take those skills from old jobs, and take those epiphanies that I had through all of these different moments to really ground me in those moments of transition. While I was transitioning between my old world and my new world, I knew I had to marry the old concepts and the new things that I was learning on a daily basis in order to make a bigger product on the end. So I hope that example really helps you guys, because that is really the epitome of who I am right now. Taking all of that with all the lessons I learned from people and the job and everything like that, and putting it into this podcast, putting it into this new position I just got, putting it into my move to Dallas. Like, all of this has shaped my whole world. Learning how to balance and live in harmony with the things that broke me and the things that built me definitely has changed my life and made my life a way that's more positive, more fruitful, and more giving to others around me, because now I'm able to teach from a full cup and show you guys, hey, this is what I did. This is what I'm continuing to do. And this is where I'm learning how to marry everything together for a bigger product and a bigger perspective. Okay, so this next example is for my potheads out there, okay? A lot of potheads find it very hard to find that balance. And I'm not judging, because your girl is a recovering everyday stoner, okay? I was an everyday pothead. That's just what I was. There was many times that I stopped and went cold turkey, and many times that I picked it back up like it was nothing. This very transparent moment for me right now. So take it or leave it. I don't care what you do with it. This is for a specific crowd. Looking back on how my life grew when I wasn't smoking and when I was smoking, I had to take the good parts and leave the bad parts. I had to realize that when I was doing it every day, sometimes, because some people, they function better on it, and that's just them. I knew for myself personally, I did not. I was way more alert, way more productive throughout my day, better use of my time and everything like that when I was not so much of a stoner. But when I was, my goal for the day was to get through my stuff so that I could smoke, which is a problem, you know? And I knew that I couldn't smoke while I was doing my things, or else it would be delayed, or it wouldn't be as well thought out or anything like that. Because for me, smoking is a relaxing thing, and it's going to either put me to sleep or it's just going to have me be lazy all day. And sometimes it helps me be creative as well. So then I went cold turkey and I just stopped. And I realized how more peppy I was, how more productive I was, and how I just really just got things done and managed my time and was able to just focus on way more things. But the downside of that was I was very high strung. Like, my natural personality is very high strung, very anal, I guess you could say. I'm just a very anxious person, and I'm controlling, and so I'm always a little stressed about a lot of things. And smoking was that thing that helped me to just not take things so personally, not to have my head spinning and overthink about things. Smoking was that thing that really relaxed me until I found meditation. Okay. So now I'm in the space where I don't smoke as much anymore. And if I do, it's like every 2 months or something like that, or every 3 months or something. Nothing like I used to, that was literally every day after work. Okay. Because it started, I would be high all day. And then when I got in school, I started to do it after I got done with my schoolwork. And then I realized that I was I had my social anxiety would peak up when I was high. So I was like, okay, I got to stop doing this when I'm like out and about. I can't do it like that. And so it led me to just doing it at night when I was home about to relax and go to sleep or something. Then it got to the point where I realized that my munchies were a little bit uncontrollable. And in order for me to lose weight, I needed to stop smoking every day. So then that made me switch and just turn it all the way off. So now I'm in the space where I'm like, I see the beauty and benefit of smoking the ganj when I want to get creative. It's a very creative thing for me. Or if I've just had a very long month, week, whatever, something that has just stressed me out, I just want to just forget about it for a little bit, then that's the time. But it's not something that I'm going to do every day, every month, every week, or anything like that, because I understand that it has more of a downside for me personally than it does an upside. And other people are different. Some people it has more of an upside than a downside, and I am all for whatever it is. But for me personally, I had to look at the old and take that evaluation, marry it with my new self and the new person I'm trying to become, and move in harmony with that. Use it when I need it, forget about it when I don't, and evaluate why I need it when I need it so that I can stop needing it as much, because eventually, I don't ever want to say I just want to stop for the rest of my life because it's fun. Like, I'm just a person who likes to have fun. So I'm gonna always have, a little fun here and there. I just don't want it to become a part of my routine and something that I rely on to the point where I can't do nothing without it. So that's me personally. I don't want anyone to take offense to that, especially because that's my decision. I still support anyone who's an everyday pothead, everyday stoner. As long as you get to the bag and you get to what you want to do in life and you make something of yourself, I don't care what you do. Me personally, it takes me down. And I had to really sit and realize that. So now I'm able to move in a harmonious way with it. It's not such a negative thing for me, and it's not something that I feel like I have to go cold turkey with, because I'm able to realize the moderation in it and realize the balance that I have to have with myself first in order to even partake in something like that. So the last one I have is about conversation and communication. So I started off as a person who would only listen and not say anything. I was just a very mute person unless I was around someone I was very comfortable with. But I would just always give a listening ear. And there's a lot of people out there who give a listening ear and don't say anything back. But then you have the other side of things where people are thinking while people are talking and they're not listening at all. They're just thinking about their response or thinking about whatever they want to think about, and they're just not listening, not taking it in. So I want you guys to view this situation as a harmonious situation with the result that comes with actively listening. Okay? Because listening and not saying anything back and thinking and not listening, they're both two sides of the spectrum, and we need to meet in the middle somewhere. Meeting in the middle is actively listening. So that means having engaging conversation, repeating back to the person what they just said, elaborating, asking questions about what they said, giving relatable content to what they said, but still staying on topic about their conversation that they're bringing to the table. That's another form of harmony. Being able to take your experiences of when you were a listening person and really took that in, and when you were thinking and when you were having all these different thoughts go in your head, how can you take both of those and become a better conversationalist, a better communicator, have more healthy dialogue with everyone? That's how. By taking those different skills, putting them together and being like, hey, I can listen right now, but while I'm listening, I can also think and take in what they're saying so that I can respond in a way that's more caring, in a way that is receptive to what they're saying, and also provides intelligent and healthy dialogue. So that's just a different type of example. I try to give a different range of examples rather than just my personal experiences. And yeah, you guys, that are all the examples I have for today. So like always, I hope that this little conversation that we had today really helps you see how you can marry the old with the new, how you can not feel so shameful of the past and not feel so fearful of the future, because you already know that you're solid in your experiences, and you know that whatever you need to do for the future is going to come your way so that you can learn from that, take what you need from that, and move on. And you also know that there's a world full of knowledge out here. You can tap into anything in order to progress. So how do you take those skills from the past and the new skills you're going to learn to make a way better future than you would have if you just kept doing the same things, or if you just booted those old things out and only learned the new things and went about it that way only? So we never want to go all one way or all this way. We want to meet in the middle. And we want to marry it all together so that we live a more balanced and a harmonious life. So I'm definitely going to check in with you guys in December. Okay. And I hope that you guys have learned how to be more harmonious in your life and how to take all of these experiences and build them in your wisdom suitcase. We are 6 months in. It is July. Okay. You got 6 more months to figure out what you need to do to make your life more harmonious. And you really have until the rest of your life, honestly. But in the year of harmony, you really want to learn this, okay? Because 2022 has been amazing. I've already knew it was going to be amazing. And just another quick example, the beginning of my 2022 was shit. Okay. It was complete, like, not for me. But I knew by the time April, May hit that my life was going to be better. And it definitely shook up some things that I was not ready for. But my life has changed a lot. And I said it in the previous episode. I love my life right now. And I know it's only going up from here because I'm learning so many different things and able to look in the past, evaluate, and continue to strive towards my dreams and goals. But that is it for this week's fellowship hour. I hope you guys found some love, light, and healing in that, and that you can take these principles and apply them to your life. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the real work where we take all of this knowledge, marry it with our experience, create the real harmony, y'all, create this wisdom, and get into the lab. Let's go. So if you are new here, the lab is basically the shadow working portion of this podcast. So pull out your notebooks, get your journals ready, and get ready for these questions. I always want you to dig deep. There's no point in writing down these questions and answering the questions if you're not going to dig deep. Like, are we trying to change or no? Okay, that's what I thought. I have my notebook here as always, and I'm going to read as always. So, number 1, how can I slowly introduce harmony in every aspect of my life? And when I say every aspect, I mean relationships, work, your just life, yourself, your dreams, your goals. How can I slowly introduce harmony in every aspect in my life? Number 2, reflecting on the past, and what ways have I already mastered harmony in my life? So if you could think back to some times where you were able to master harmony and marry the old with the new, write those down. It will help you see how you progress and how you're able to handle anything that comes to you, honestly. So number 2, again, reflecting on the past, and what ways have I already mastered harmony in my life? Number 3, am I ready to let go of what I've known to have a greater perspective? Okay. Number 3, am I ready to let go of what I've known to have a greater perspective? And the best example I have for this one is, being in 2022, a lot of people want to hang on to 2019 and 2020. And it's just like, no, we're moving on. You can take some of those principles, but we're moving on. Okay. Number 4, in what ways can I embrace this new world while integrating my true self? Okay. In what ways can I embrace this new world while integrating my true self? Because we don't want the new world to just completely consume who we are as people. We're still who we are, and we still want to reach what we want to reach, but we don't necessarily want the new world to consume us in that way where we forget about how we did things, what we want, and we just go off of what's hot right now or what the new world is asking us to do. Okay. All right, you guys, those are the shadow working prompts for this week, and we have officially reached my favorite part of the show, which is a moment. So here in the a moment section, this is basically a meditation that I guide you guys for the first minute, and we use the listening ear method. Well, I really call it the ear method, but I call it the ear method because I want you to give yourself a listening ear. It is basically a breathing technique. So we use the ear method. E is for embrace, and you inhale. A is for accept, and you hold. And then R is for release, and you exhale. And while you're embracing your thoughts. You're accepting your thoughts and you're releasing your thoughts. So you can move on to the next one. And learn how to meditate, because a lot of people don't know how to meditate. So, like I said, I guide you for the first minute, and 4 minutes after that, you get to do whatever you want to do. I ask that you don't be distracted and you find time where there's no one in your face, and you really sit down to evaluate what it is that you're going through. I really want you guys to make time for this. Even though I say pause it and come back, sometimes it's hard to come back to it. So I just want you to make that time while you're listening. Just go to the bathroom real quick. Go sit in your room real quick. Turn off everything. Even if you're at work, just go to the bathroom. I don't know. Just take 5 minutes. Go to your car. You can go to your car for 5 minutes and just breathe for a second, and then get back to what you were doing. It's only 5 minutes. So before we get started, I want us to go ahead and clear the energy and take a deep breath in from your diaphragm, not your lungs. So go ahead and inhale for me. Hold it and exhale. So that is clearing out the energy for us, and we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, go ahead and inhale and embrace, hold and accept, exhale and release. Inhale and embrace, hold and accept, exhale and release. Inhale and embrace, hold and accept, exhale and release. Inhale and embrace, hold and accept, exhale and release. Inhale and embrace, hold and accept, exhale and release. The next 4 minutes are all for you. Welcome back, you guys. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So, I hope you guys had a great meditation, and I hope that you guys were able to eliminate distractions and just sit with yourself and really understand what you need to do for the day or where you need to spend more time meditating, whatever the case may be. But without further ado, remember you can find me on IG, Facebook, or TikTok at the.w.podcast. And you can stream this podcast anywhere that you listen to podcasts except for SoundCloud. So sorry for y'all. So sorry. But without holding you guys any longer, I hope you guys have a fulfilling week. And I hope you guys do something that makes you feel loved this week, because you deserve, boo. You deserve. I love you guys so much. It was a pleasure working with you guys in the shop today. And I will see you guys in the next session. Bye, y'all.